You keep telling yourself you're confused, that you don't know what's going on, that you just need more time to figure it out. But most of the time, you're not confused. You're starting to see something clearly, and you don't like what it means. Because confusion feels safer than clarity. Confusion means you don't have to decide yet. You don't have to respond. You don't have to let it change anything. So you go back into your head. You replay the conversation, and you look for a different interpretation. You try to find the version of the situation that keeps things open. And sometimes you find it. Some small thing that makes it feel uncertain again, that lets you breathe for a moment. But it doesn't last, because the thing you saw is still there. You just covered it back up. This is one of the most common things I see when I'm working with people. Not someone who genuinely doesn't know what's happening, but someone who is slowly arriving at something, and then pulling back just before it fully lands. And there are a few ways this tends to show up. The first is in relationships. You notice a pattern. The same dynamics playing out again. The same feeling in your body. The same moment where something shifts and you're suddenly walking on eggshells. And part of you recognizes it. But instead of letting that recognition mean something, you start explaining it away. They're going through something. It wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I'm reading into it. And those thoughts aren't random. They're not you being stupid or weak. They're you protecting yourself from what clarity would require. Because if you let it be clear, then you have to decide what you're going to do with it. And that decision has consequences. Real ones. Ones that affect your life, your stability, your sense of who you are. So the confusion isn't a mistake. It's a strategy. An unconscious one, but a strategy nonetheless. The second place this shows up is with yourself. Not just in how you see other people, but in how you see what you actually want, what you actually feel, what you actually need. A lot of people who have spent years in emotionally complicated dynamics have gotten very good at not knowing what they want. Because wanting things clearly meant getting hurt when that didn't happen. So they learned to stay vague, to keep it open, to not fully commit to a read on the situation, because that felt safer than being wrong. And that pattern doesn't just live in relationships. It lives in how you talk to yourself, and how long you sit with something before you let yourself name it, and how quickly you move to, but maybe, every time something starts to get clear. The third is probably the most subtle. It's when you know something needs to change, but you can't fully see yourself on the other side of it. So instead of sitting with that discomfort, you reframe the whole thing as confusion. You tell yourself you just need more information, more time, more certainty before you move. But the information is already there. The certainty you're waiting for isn't going to come from the outside. It comes from being willing to let what you already know actually mean something. So instead of asking, why am I so confused? It's usually more honest to ask, what is starting to become clear that I don't want to fully accept yet? That's where things actually shift. Not when you finally figure it out, but when you stop running from what's already there. And if you're in that place right now, where something is becoming clear, but you're not sure what to do with it, that's exactly why I built Transcendental Mentorship. It's free to join, because the people who need this most are usually the ones least likely to pay before they trust it. Not a course, not a program to keep up with, just a space for people who are already reflective and emotionally aware, but need somewhere for that experience to actually land. The link is in the description.